Hi, I'm George. I go to Archbishop Mitty High School, and I built a linear motor. So the first step when building my linear motor was to determine the right coil and wire gauge to use for my magnets, which you can see are placed along this track here. The problem with using a really thin gauge wire meant that I couldn't pass enough current through it to move the cart. So I figured out that I needed to use a thick gauge. I ended up using 16 gauge and wiring it around a 5/8 inch core, but I couldn't use an iron core because regardless of the coil's pole, that is, if it's pushing or pulling, regardless of that, the cart magnets would be attracted to the iron. So I couldn't create a pushing force on the cart when I'm using an iron core. So once I figured that out, I made about 18 of them using a jig I made out of a wood lathe, and that made the process a whole lot faster. And then once I laid those out on my cart, I set them into the cart by using a Forstner bit to drill in 2-inch holes to countersink my coils in. And then I started working on the sequence that I would use to propel the cart forward. And I did that by drawing out a kind of a diagram of the track, and I figured out if the cart was here, which magnets would I want to push and which magnets would I want to pull. And as I did that, I figured out that there was a 3-phase pattern that I saw, and I ended up using that, and yeah, that's how it works. You can see a video demonstration now. So now that you saw it working, I'm going to show you how the circuit works. So one of the main problems I also had was figuring out a way to switch the magnets from pulling the cart to pushing the cart. And the way I did that was using these relays here. And what the relays do pretty much is they switch the way the current's going. So if the power's going from this way to this way, it'll pull, but then the relay switches it so it'll go from this way to this way, and then that'll make it push instead. And another problem I had was powering these relays. The Arduino that I used to control the sequence that the magnets turn on wasn't strong enough and didn't have enough current to trigger the relays. So I ended up using these MOSFETs you can see here to increase the current and allow these relays to turn on. Some future improvements I plan on making, one of them would be having an ultrasonic sensor placed at one of the ends of the cart or the track so that it can sense where the cart is in relation to the coils, and that'll help determine which coil should be pushing and pulling and could make it more exact. Another improvement I want to make is I want to find a way to, instead of using relays to do the push-pull on these magnets, I want to find a way to make it more of a sine wave. So instead of just being push or pull, I want to use a series of transistors to make it kind of be a little bit pushing, more pushing, less pushing, and then pulling, so that that way I can control the exact position of the cart, so it's not so jumpy like this, it could be smooth. And yeah, that's pretty much it.